Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Calyn Thompson.
Law enforcement have a simple message for people.
We can see that this is what 6 feet apart looks like. The mood is exciting here and it's hopeful. A quick trip to Rochester today for Vice President Mike Pence. I'm going to take a step behind you now. We're on the scene of a structure fire. What's the safety protocol and what do you plan on asking him today? The 2019 legislative session begins today. Dr. Noseworthy tells me it's the right time to do this. This site is one of several across the Rochester community. It looks like I won't be needing these and I will be needing this. Pretty steady traffic here on Highway 52. I am in Storm Tracker 3 heading eastbound on Interstate 90. I'll give you a look at what I'm looking at right now. Are learning more about COVID-19 every day. Both parties are back at the state capitol today from part of the loan, causing it to deflate. That's the same amount that's in this bag of flour, making him change part of his lifestyle when he's outside under the sun.
Brooke, just moments ago, the Minnesota National Guard took to the skies.
The winter storm brought 10 inches of snow to Rochester, and that caused some travel problems today. Today was an opportunity to learn more about tropical birds like these. In Rochester, Calyn Thompson, KIMT News 3. KIMT News 3 Sports Zach was there. Zach, how was it?
This is no laughing matter. The Rochester Honkers.
This is KIMT News 3 at 10. Saturday. Local coronavirus news coverage starts right now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Calyn Thompson. As protests continue to sweep the nation after George Floyd's death, more made their way to our area today. KIMT News 3's Zach Gilliland joins us live where Rochester youth organized the latest demonstration. Zach. Thank you, Zach. And masks were required for the event. All protesters were asked to maintain social distancing. Scheduled for tomorrow is the Rochester United March Against Injustice. Protesters will meet at 3 p.m. in the Silver Lake Park soccer fields and march to the Government Center at 3:30. It is a blackout event. Organizers for this march say they're demanding empathy, de-escalation, and prejudice training for police, regular mandatory counseling for police officers, and that all police brutality cases be civilian reviewed. Thousands of Twin Cities residents marched today demanding for Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey to defund the Minneapolis Police Department and invest in community-led safety measures beyond the police. When Mayor Frey showed up, he didn't receive the warmest welcome. The protest organizer asked him point blank, yes or no, will you commit to defunding the police? She said his re-election bid next year depends on it, and the crowd agreed. When he gave his answer, there was an eruption of boos and those chants for him to go home. Here's what he had to say afterwards. Throughout the afternoon, the march stopped several times for different reasons. Once it was to have a dance party, another was for a prayer. Thousands of people gathered this afternoon to march through downtown Des Moines. The march was called Our Generation's March on Selma. There was music playing, people were holding signs and chanting. They recongregated at City Hall, and that's where they paused for a moment, and everyone laid down on the ground in silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds as a touching tribute to George Floyd. Here's a look at that moment.
He yelled out certain words he said for this 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
A very powerful moment there. A second memorial for George Floyd took place in North Carolina today. This comes as people around the world took to the streets in his name calling for change. Natalie Brand reports from Washington, D.C. Katie and George, after a whirlwind afternoon here at the Olmsted County Courthouse, it's not the decision either side wanted, but it's also a decision that does not mark the end.
We're disappointed because we believe truly that he's not guilty.
At this point, all systems are heading towards just getting it rescheduled.
It's back to the drawing board for both sides as they prepare for what's expected to be a second trial. As for Weiss, he just continues to wait.
Well, can you imagine what your life is like having a pending case where you've been accused of second-degree murder? and not knowing what the outcome's going to be and believing in your heart of hearts that you're not guilty.
It all came down to the jury not being able to come to a unanimous decision whether Weiss did in fact act in self-defense on that fateful January day back in 2018. A complex concept that the state hopes to better clarify next time.
There's just a lot of things that go on in our communities and our societies and the way we are kind of brought up that it created some significant challenges, but yet people were very strong in their positions apparently in the jury room.
A review hearing for this case is scheduled for June 6th at 9 a.m. right here at the courthouse. And it's definitely a different scene tonight than what we've been bringing you throughout the day. Now, when I was in those doors earlier this evening, there was a sense of energy when the president came to town.
From the lakes of Minnesota.
You could feel the sense of pride and unity as President Trump walked into Mayo Civic Center. His visit brought in thousands, as well as the idea of what the Republican Party can do.
America has achieved the biggest comeback in our history. True.
People tell us they felt a sense of positivity as the president spoke.
Very inspired, always, always. I watch all his rallies on TV, but to be at one is amazing.
But I don't know how you could be here and not just feel amazing.
By me showing up is just my way of supporting him. He's done so much for us, and he's given the power back to the people. So, yeah, that's just here supporting the president.
What's left behind me tonight is a lot of trash and lawn chairs from the wait earlier today. I'm sure the task for tomorrow will be cleanup. Reporting live in Rochester, Calyn Thompson, KIMT News 3. Most of us take for granted the warm bed we go home to every night. When you're homeless, you have to get creative to find a place to sleep and stay warm. But thanks to a collaboration between the City of Rochester, Olmsted County, and Catholic Charities, there's a new spot for them to go. Located at 204th Street Southeast, that's right across the street from the Olmsted County Government Center, the Rochester Community Warming Center is set to open this week. But in order for it to be successful, they need your help.
We have very open doors. We want to be able to help as many individuals as we can.
In a city filled with thousands of people,
so we'll have them fill out this basic form.
About a dozen came together to learn how to help the community's most vulnerable of residents.
Being part of the community is more than just, being in it and living there.
Matthew Murphy makes one volunteer, and the goal is to get 200 people signed up.
Yeah, I know it's going to be busy, but, people need warm places to go, and I'm fortunate enough to have a warm place, so, I gotta be grateful.
There are places that provide shelter when the temps dip below zero. But the Rochester Community Warming Center will be open daily, no matter the weather.
It'll be a good opportunity for them to have a place where they can go when it's not just zero, because 1 or 2 degrees doesn't feel so great either.
Kathy Hunsaker is one of the night managers at the new warming center, and that means she will work side by side with the volunteers to care for the guests.
I just want to help, and I feel like this is a population that is underserved and can tend to be marginalized and really benefits from having someone in their corner who just will talk to them like a person, and I want to bring that to this position.
This space will provide people a place to sleep, clean themselves up, and wash their clothes. In all, there's 30 beds, and there's room to fit up to 32 people. Coordinators are working on a backup location if more show up.
At first it seemed like there maybe wasn't much of a homelessness issue in Rochester, and then you start to pay attention.
With people sleeping in skyways, living in their vehicles, and camping out under bridges, it's a resource that's needed in the community and expected to be utilized. Rochester Mayor Kim Norton sees the value in adding another appropriate place of shelter.
Homelessness affects those that are without a home, but it affects the other people in the community as well. And, it's going to take the whole community to solve the problem.
And that's why Hunsaker says the new center will not only provide individuals a place to sleep, the staff will also help them better their situation.
Yeah, we definitely want to be helpful and proactive in that and get people connected with the resources that they need to solve the root issues of their homelessness. Because having a place to sleep is just the tip of the iceberg. The Rochester Community Warming Center will serve adults ages 18 and older.
The center will operate from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. 7 days a week. And there will be 2 shifts volunteers can sign up for. That's 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. If you'd like to learn more about volunteering, we'll post the information on our website, KIMT.com. You can find it under the local news tab. The Salvation Army serves hundreds of thousands of people in our communities. In fact, the Salvation Army in Rochester helps about 12,000 people a year throughout all of their different programs. In order to do so, they need your help. One of their biggest fundraisers of the year is happening right now, the Red Kettle campaign. But have you ever thought about who benefits from your donations? I spoke with one woman who's now no longer homeless for the holidays, thanks to the Salvation Army and generous community members.
Merry Christmas and thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, bye now.
We hear them every year.
Merry Christmas. All right. Hi, thank you.
Hi.
But you may not think about who your donations go to when you stuff $1 in the bucket.
I mean, even if it's 5 cents, it goes such a long way. It touches a lot more families than you see or even realize, but it's worth it.
Janelle Malone knows firsthand.
So this is Issa Rae. She's 12.
The single mother of 5 hasn't had it easy.
I was homeless. Me and my kids were homeless. We were actually sleeping in the car.
It was the Salvation Army and their rapid rehousing program that gave her the chance she needed.
They were really the only ones that entertained me and gave me the opportunity. And it was really just an opportunity of housing because when I was homeless, obviously I wasn't working. And so I needed that one little piece to get on my feet. And after securing the housing piece, I completed college. And now I'm a phlebotomist and have moved forward since then. So it was huge, huge, huge for me.
It was also huge for her kids.
Winter, Issa Rae, Sunny, and Rain. And then we have Zen over here. She's 16 months.
Which is important to the Salvation Army during the holiday season.
Christmas, it's one of those holidays where children especially can realize what their circumstances are.
The circumstances for the Malone family are a lot different this year.
And I'm actually planning, Christmas. Last year it wasn't even fathomable to even think about Christmas. It was more, I got to find somewhere to live, be warm, get fed, those type of things. So this year we're actually celebrating. So that's different.
Seasonal bells allowing a mother to celebrate with her kids. Not just the holidays, but life.
Getting back to the basics of being able to laugh and enjoy each other because, for a while there was just we're surviving. So we don't really have time to laugh or joke or anything like that. So it's very good to just breathe.
This year, the Rochester Salvation Army has the goal of raising $950,000. At last check, they've met over 40% of their goal, so still quite a long ways to go. Part of the KIMT News 3 team will be ringing kettlebells this Thursday at Andy's in the Crossroads Center. We will be there from 5 to 8 that evening. We'd love it if you stop by to say hi and donate so the Salvation Army can reach their goal and help more local families. Tonight, our Homeless for the Holidays series continues. Throughout the month of December, we've shown you the real people who are impacted by homelessness, as well as community leaders who are looking to solve it. This isn't a new issue, but the ways we go about helping those who experience it can always improve. But in order to help, we need to know where and who they are, as well as how many. That's why the City of Rochester, Olmsted County, and Mayo Clinic collaborated to bring in consultants from the Corporation for Supportive Housing. And one of the things they advised doing was a 3-day survey. Here's a look at some of their findings.
But you got people underneath bridges, sitting on the park benches.
We've been telling their stories for months.
My current situation is I'm living up in the Skyway, so.
Of the people who live in our community but don't have a place to call home.
I really wouldn't wish this on anybody.
But new efforts and data are offering a different approach for those who help the homeless.
We spent 3 days intentionally going out and trying to find everyone that we could that was either living outside or sleeping in a car. And getting their information together so that we had a baseline to work from.
Trent Flugel is with Olmsted County, and Ashley Bruss works for Zumbro Valley Health Center.
So homelessness is going to be a continuous problem, but the way that we approach it is something that can make a huge impact on our system.
They were 2 of the people that went out and surveyed those in the community. And here's what they found. Before surveying, different providers in the community identified 123 people as being unsheltered. And of those, they ended up interviewing 105 people during the 3-day period. Data from those interviews will allow them to track their efforts and get people housed.
From these numbers, we looked at their situation. Where are they at on our housing list? Is their assessment for housing up to date, or do we need to update it? And after we update it, are there other ways that we could house them? Is it something, a housing resource through treatment better for them? Is it that they are employed and they can afford an apartment? They just need someone to help them find an apartment that will take someone with a couple barriers.
The survey allowed them to put a face to a name, see what resources they may need, and follow through with them. Meaning they not only want to get people out of homelessness, but have them be successful in the community.
We want to track when people are first identified as homeless, how long they remain homeless before they're housed, and then once housed, how long they remain stably housed. Because our overall goal is to make homelessness in Olmsted County, rare, brief, and to happen just one time to an individual.
Now that survey was taken at the end of October, and since then, I'm told nearly 30 people have been moved into stable housing. Of course, the continuous tracking of their efforts will be crucial in future funding for resources and programs.